Hello everyone, welcome back to Prince and Nikki's channel. Thank you for joining today. Today's video is part 2 of the previous video that we did where we arrived in Ghana and did an external walk around the property to see what needed doing and what we wanted to achieve whilst we was on the ground in Ghana. Well, first things first, lesson number 1. Don't always have too much of a plan because when you're on the ground, time flies. You'll see on your screen the previous video that I posted when we arrived, whereby I did a full walk around the property, saw what was the current state of the external area, and just talked to you a little bit about what we'd done since our last visit in 2024 to now. From last year to now, when I arrived, I was quite pleased with the progress we had talked about on the previous video, where we'd moved the wall forward to the boundary line. We have the entrance gate and nice entrance, which I was pleased with. For this particular visit, we was focusing on trying to get the external works in a good standing. And honestly, when we arrived, time was so busy. We had so many site visits and business things, but also once you arrive on the ground, you just relax. Like, we enjoyed our family home. We was going around and enjoying. So it was a nice time, nice experience. And we realized that actually we're well on target. When we originally wanted to do this build, we said ideally we wanted to finish within 5 years. We're currently at 3 years, so we just took a slow pace and we was happy to enjoy the time whilst we was there. So some of the plans that we had for the external area was where the back area of the property is. For those of you who have been with us for a while and have seen our journey for our whole project, you'll be aware that the back of the property that comes from the kitchen right outside onto an alfresco, the design is such that you will have a swimming pool in this area that is on your screen now. That is a longer term plan and something that we're currently debating on whether to put a pool or not. I know there's long term debates about having a swimming pool versus not having a swimming pool. We're aware people fill the pools in over time, and it's just the general maintenance and also the cost of putting one in. I have had feedback from other people as well, and I'm aware that a lot of people have made videos previously about when they're in Ghana, they like to go around the different pools and enjoy the different facilities, which I also do when I'm in Ghana. Me and my children tend to like to go around different pools and enjoy whilst Prince goes off and does the site visits and things. So I do quite enjoy that element as well. So there's pros and cons from having the swimming pool, and we need to balance that. So that decision will need to be made at the right time. But for now, we wanted to get it all levelled. So in terms of that, our back of the garden, we wanted to make sure that it all sloped gently from the back here that's on your screen. This will all be nicely levelled with the topsoil on. And then what we wanted is a gentle slope from this area right to the front of the home, where there will be paving or tiles, and then it drops down onto the main road. We've always said from the beginning that we wanted it at a certain height to make sure that it's higher than the potential future road, should a road be built in the future, and then we're not always going to have any problems with flooding and things. We wanted to create the external steps down from the different terrace areas onto the ground. So you see here there's a step on either side and there's another step here, and then from the side door that goes to the utility area, which is just on the right, and then from the front also. So we wanted to have the steps done as well whilst we were there. Another thing that we wanted to do was make sure that we had the border on the right hand side of the house built so that we could have some flowers and greenery. We really wanted to make the planting on this visit so that you can see the progress when we're next in Ghana. You'll see here on this side there is 3 royal palm trees. Those are what we planted last year, and they're coming along nicely, so I really wanted to get the planting done so that it gets a good chance to get going. You see the carpentry in the background on the roof for our neighbour. That's been done by our carpenter Mowley, and the PND premium roofing sheets that we have on our roof, and the projects that we have been doing. So you'll see here on the ground we've done a little layer of small chippings here, and then moving on, that's the step that we've done. So a lot of thought and planning has gone in through the different stages, right from the beginning when we did the foundation, thinking about the levels and really just thinking about the whole project all the way through and how each different element lines together so that all the right trades come in at the right time and things are done correctly, so that it just makes smooth running but also reduces the repetition of repeated work. Whilst we was here, we also wanted to make sure that we had consideration for the water tank, which this here, the water tank, that's actually just there for our friend and neighbour that's using our location. So the water tank will actually be on the left side of the property. This side here, what you're seeing now, that's the entrance and the wider part. So that part there down the side of the house is about 5 meters wide. So we will have the option to park the cars down the side or to the front here on the left of the property. So all this area, it gives us 2 different options for parking. So the water tank will go on the other side, which is a slightly smaller width to the property. Those of you who watched us from the beginning, you'll recall when we purchased those doors. At the time we said we was putting those on as temporary doors. We had the entrance for the front and the utility door. We put them on as temporary doors just to make sure that the property was secure. Obviously when we had the windows fitted, we needed to just make sure everything was closed and secure. So we bought those doors and had them put on as temporary. The idea was that we will change those doors in the future when we're ready to something more suitable. However, I do really like them. They're simple, classic, and they're actually quite well built. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll change them in the future, but I don't mind them. So we're okay for now with those. Now with the flower borders, once you're preparing them, what you need to do for the border itself, you need to make sure that you're digging a decent depth and that you have a concrete foundation before you lay the blocks. This just makes sure that it's fully secure before you start filling it in. You'll see on the screen as well that we also, before we filled it in and put the topsoil, we did put down some DPM as a third triple layer of protection as well. What I had done before I went to Ghana is looked at our original 3D drawings and videos, and then I'd also sketched out what I had as a visual for what I wanted the external area to be. So I'm quite a visual person and I like to sketch and draw. As I did with the windows and security bars, when I place the orders, I always make sure that I sketch everything out in detail. I have everything lined up, and it's the same with the external area. What we have as a vision is the front area will have different options. So we've already excluded that we don't want to do the stamped concrete. One thing is it doesn't soak the water. You can put the drains and things in, but in my experience from what we've used previously with it cracks, it discolours, you need to reseal for the shine, and I just don't think it's going to be suitable for us and our choices. So we're considering between paving blocks and tiles at the moment. When the time comes, we'll make a final decision, but that's going to be for the entrance area. and then that will only go up to part way on the right hand side of the property. So once you get to like where the porch door is, the doorway is round the side where we're just walking now, I'm going to finish the paving there, and then the whole of the back area going round will be the greenery. So what I want it to feel is that there's lots of greenery. So we're doing lots of planting, and to make sure that it feels quite private as well. I'm just giggling at the screen. You see me and Prince running around with trees in our hand, looking at different places. I will say that the journey to get this greenery planted was no joke. We was literally on the last day, the last hours before we needed to go back to London, and we was running around crazy. We were determined to get them planted. We went to the nursery on the last day before we flew home. We were supposed to be at the airport at like 6:20 in the evening, and it was after 4 p.m. and we were still on site. It was crazy. We had to get back to Accra Central. We needed to get our baggage, get back to the airport. So it was a little crazy, but we were determined to get the plants. So we went to a nursery. We had a look. It's not far from our property. There's a few nurseries around. However, I'm pleased with the one that we ended up going to, and shout out to Mike for that, helping us find that location. So we bought a number of fruit trees. We bought a cocoa tree, coconut tree, pawpaw, mango tree. We bought a number of flowers and bushes. You're seeing them on your screen at the moment. So when we purchased them, we quickly went back to the site. We thought about the location for each of the plants. The one on the left is my favourite. I see them all the time in people's gardens, and I do like the colour of them. So we got those. We thought about the placements. We didn't have time to actually do them ourselves. We just laid them on the ground, and then we had our staff members plant them for us once we had left. That's one of the things that I really like about Ghana. You're never short for any fruits and any nice trees. There were so many options at the nursery, and I'll definitely be going back there and purchasing more. Obviously we focused on this right hand side as the entrance so that it can start growing nicely, and then all this back area we wanted to get it all level and just for now before we think about swimming pool, so it's a usable space outside. So we did want to put grass seed down here. Unfortunately we didn't get the chance to do the grass seeding, and it actually turns out quite well because at the moment we have someone constantly weeding it, making sure that it's perfect before we actually do the grass seed. So eventually this will just be grassed, and then what we'll need to do is incorporate the block paving around the external perimeter of the property, which will tie into the drawing that I did. So I want to be able to walk out of this balcony here, and be able to walk right round the property from here to the left to the water tank if need be, and then also from the utility on the right hand side of the property. What I'll be able to do is turn right and go to where the parking is, or turn left and have some paving that comes round to the rear of the property. I also have lots of the larger trees because I do want to create shaded areas. You'll see the mango tree on the floor there. That's actually been planted in the middle there. So the hope is that that will grow, and then I'll have a shaded area. I've switched to the CCTV images to give you a slightly different angles and views here. So this is just when we was placing them. So yes, I do want lots of different varieties and also lots of shade. You will note there's some chip-ins, and where the royal palm is on the left hand side there was lots of sand. Those materials will need to use those up once the rains have stopped. We will be looking at the septic tank. we have had discussions about that versus biodigester, so that's another thing that we need to finish, but we're going to do that when the rain stops. So that will clear up all those additional materials for the external areas, and then we'll be able to start thinking about the paving going around the property. And then we also have the pipe work for the drainage and things that needs to be connected from the internal to the external and to the septic tank. So as you can see, it was quite a busy time. In terms of being on site, we always made sure that we was popping in and out to the property. We was staying between different locations in Accra and our hometown, and we always made sure that we kept passing by the house. We have a number of things that have been going on whilst we're there. This is just the external things that we was doing. So the project itself is moving along nicely. I'm pleased with the things that have been done in the house to date, and I just can't wait to get finished and stay in the house. It's much nicer and easier once you have your property done. From my own experience with the other house that we have, it's nice just to rock up and have your own things, your own personal possessions, your own photographs and everything. It just makes it nicer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the day that we can actually turn that key and move in and stay in the house. One thing I will say, you can see here on the screen that the casement windows are all open for the work that was going inside the house. And it's one thing I did notice is that I'm just pleased with the decision we made to have the casement windows. It makes a massive difference in terms of the air that you can get into the property. And the locks themselves and just the way that they are built, I'm just pleased with how it is. So I'm glad we've made that decision, and it just changes things completely in terms of how it looks visually, the house, once the windows are in and the doors. We're just getting it nicely finished from the external, and then we'll be able to make once it's all done, we'll be able to make a final paint of the external area. This was just a whitewash that we did to protect the walls, and then we'll make a final paint once we're ready. I dare say I really enjoyed the CCTV cameras. As I make this video now, I'm back in London, and it's so handy just having the cameras, because you can just literally log in, review the cameras internally and externally of the property and see what's going on. Any issues you've got, you can just see, even in terms of the roadside and just the general perimeter of your house. It's just nice to have that sense of security and be able to see. And also, if you have someone coming to your house and you're directing them on site, you can actually have a full discussion with them about what you're doing. So it's really handy, and I quite think that the quality is good. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments in terms of the quality of the video. So as I say, that's about it for the external works. Next time we bring a video, it will be hopefully to do the finishing touches. I want to say thank you to those of you who continue to support the channel and subscribe and comment. We enjoy interacting with you and encourage you to continue to do so. If you are interested in watching this project or any of our other projects that's on the channel, head over and click on the button at the top of the screen called Playlists, where you'll see individual names of the variety of projects, including our own homestead project. And then we have a variety of different projects. We have in the last few weeks brought to you a new project, PSO3, and we will be bringing you shortly Project Burn Step. So head over and continue supporting us. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.